My name is Alan.
My name's Evan. And welcome to All My Friends. Dude, that was so legit.
Welcome to episode 1. Hey, Ev, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for asking me how I was doing. It's very polite of you. I appreciate some politeness. While we may be a rogue pod, we're a polite pod, all right?
Yeah, we're mostly polite.
Well, let's give the people what they want, Al. Who did we have on the episode 1, the inaugural episode of All My Friends? Who did we have on?
We had a lovely young man from Toronto, Canada. Young producer named Chet Porter.
Chet Porter. Chetty Spaghetti. That's what we're going to start calling him.
Real name, undisclosed.
Undisclosed. That's good. I like that. Chet is a very, very interesting man. He was a great interview. This was my favorite interview that we did of the first batch that we recorded. Not only an incredibly talented producer, but also like a super funny, pretty quirky guy. We talk about a lot of weird shit.
Yeah, he's a very creative dude. You'll hear a little bit about him on the interview where he talks a little bit about what he used to do before he made music. Mm-hmm. So he's always been a funny, interesting guy.
You got to wait till the end for that.
Yeah, so you'll definitely get to see a little bit more about him besides his music, which in itself was pretty interesting to talk to him about.
Yeah. For somebody who's managed to reach a decent level of success in the electronic world already, he only has 3 original songs out, which I think is a testament to who he is as a producer, just as far as his high standards of quality. But it was interesting to hear kind of his, what was it? What's the word I'm looking for? He's got a lot to do. Like, he's got to put out an album. He's got to follow up these great singles that he's had, and he's not totally sure how to do a lot of it, it sounded like. So it was cool.
Yeah, definitely sounded like he's prioritizing making really good music over putting anything out.
Even if it takes
been a little bit of a struggle maybe so far to fully commit to a concept or something. Mm-hmm. So you'll hear him talk about that a little bit. Talk about touring, which was interesting.
Hitting the road, baby.
The different opportunities he's had so far. Yeah. What else did we talk about?
With some big names. Let's name drop. Odesza. Ever heard of him?
No.
No, Doy. Oh, crap. I forget other people he's toured with.
I was going to say, do you have more than one?
No, he's toured with a lot of people. He opened for...
Jai Wolf.
True. Mr. Wolf himself. Yeah, it was a really great interview. I'm very happy with how it went, even though it took place on the couch in my apartment.
Yeah, and well, without further ado, here's episode 1.
Here's Chet. Location in Seattle, Washington, with a very special guest. He's been sleeping on my couch for the past couple nights.
It's been like 5 days.
It has been. It actually has been almost 5 days. We have Chet Porter on the pod. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Happy to be here.
Yeah,
on the podcast.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's pretty great to have you. You were probably one of the first people when we started recording podcasts that we were like, oh, it'd be really cool to have Chet. So nice. We're going to quit after this one. Yeah, dude, no, thank you for being on it.
You can blame my girlfriend for missing your show.
Yeah. Alan missed your show at Barboza because his girlfriend's holiday party.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was a sold out show.
But this podcast is over.
This is fucking is. We're not going to do it anymore just because of that.
Yeah.
Well, you go by Chet Porter, but your real name is correct?
This is correct.
So if
although
you're-
not common knowledge.
That's not common knowledge. We
now-
break a lot of news on the pod.
You should bleep that out.
We
should be like,
will.
But your real
Trust
name
me.
is Beep.
put like a beep.
Okay.
But if your name was Brad, would you go by Brett Porter?
Wow.
Yeah. You didn't think we were going to start big, but
We
That's
asked,
a-
we asked the
big.
tough questions.
That's a big
here. We're not
question.
gonna
I
leave.
guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is Chet because of anything, though? Is there anything behind
Yeah,
Chet?
so it was like in when I switched schools in elementary school, it was like the 7th grade or something.
Yeah.
And I was like a pretty shy kid, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to this new school and they were like, "What's your name?" And I was like,
Chet.
and they were like, "Chet?" And I was like, "Yeah."
And you just went with
So
it?
because
And
someone
then-
misheard your name.
Yeah, and then they called me Chet for like 2 weeks, and then they finally found out, and it was like they were just like, "Yeah, it's too late. Like this
Yeah.
is your name now." And I was like, "Okay, sure." Like,
Dude, that's how a lot of nicknames start. I've always wanted a nickname, and I've never fucking had one.
yeah,
so.
I mean, like it's hardly a nickname because it's a
It's
real
so
name.
close.
Yeah.
Right.
You also need friends. For
That's true. I don't.
nicknames, so.
That's why I don't have nicknames, Alan. But you go by Chet to most people, right?
Like everyone, yeah.
Who your parents call? That's it.
Like
family.
sometimes they'll text me saying Chet. It's
Yeah.
just like
I think Chet's a great name. I don't know anyone else named Chet.
it's a cool name. I like it better than the other like stereotypical douchebag name.
Like
that-
what? Come on,
The normal
Chet.
one.
Yeah, you know you're holding it down for like a pretty, not marginalized, but stereotypically douchey
It's pretty bad.
population, right?
Yeah.
I like introduced myself to these girls at a bar like a month ago, and they were like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah.
And I was like,
You don't even
"Oh
know me,
man,
but
like,
thanks.
dude, that's not like."
Yeah.
They were like, "You seem so much deeper than that, though," and I was like,
You seem
"Thanks,
deep,
like,
dude.
you're so deep."
Do you get that? Like you're intellectual. A lot of girls say that at bars.
Never. Like, I guess that one time.
Yeah, one time. It's all it takes is one.
But then later, that girl had sex in the bathroom.
Oh.
with my friend.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I don't
Brad.
know.
Why are
Your
you
friend
phrasing it
Brad.
like that? Dude? You hooked up with her. That'd be kind of
No,
before you were Chet Porter, you went by Valley. Is that
yeah,
correct?
I
Am
made like
is it
one song. I
Just one?
Just
I
the
think
one.
so.
What was
The
it called?
remix.
Am I pronouncing it right? Valley.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
remix for. I don't even remember actually.
Galantis.
No.
No.
But why'd you change?
I think like I made this remix for. I think it was for like Zed. or
Okay,
something.
it is someone popular, right?
Yeah, and I just made this like slow kind of like chilled out remix thing,
Mhm.
and then just put it up whatever,
Mhm.
and then it like randomly went to #1 on Hype Machine, and I was like, whoa,
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from Ultra
Mm-hmm.
Music, and they were like, hey, like really love this, like what you
Wow.
did, and they were like, do you have any more music? And I was like,
Nope.
actually no, I
Yeah.
don't. And like that was the end of the call, and then I was like, shit, I should make more music. So I like sat down and started making more music, and like gradually became different, and then I was like, I'm just gonna drop the whole Valley thing, and
Yeah.
Did you just feel like it was not the right like
Fit.
fit?
I mean,
Yeah.
Chet Porter for you
I-
sounds. It
exactly.
just feels right.
It feels right,
yeah,
but I don't know if
that's good.
Right.
Like I've always wanted to come up with a cool name
Yeah.
for like I don't know the project, but it just seems easier to go by name.
Yeah. What's Porter from then?
It's like my last name.
Oh,
but like
that actually is your last name.
but like shorter though.
What's your full last name?
My full last name is Porteous, and
Whoa.
then, so I just like crunched it
Yeah.
into like a shorter, more friendly.
Yeah.
I basically set myself up for all those like Chet Faker, Porter Robinson jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
We were
one,
gonna-
I'm sure
yeah.
it's a question you get often, but how frequent are the mix-ups of people thinking you're affiliated to Chet Faker or Porter Robinson?
I don't think they actually ever mistake it. I think
No.
they just like to joke about it. I think I've had like maybe one person
like genuinely be
actually genuinely think it was like a collaborative project.
Oh.
But like other than that, I think people are just like teasing me, and
Yeah.
which is fine because I made the joke before anyone else. I like made sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's like I'm like, okay,
You
this
okay, you
isn't so
got it.
bad because I acknowledged
You laughed
it
at yourself
and did
first.
it. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Well, this is a little unrelated, but how often are you mistaken for not the artist? Or like if you're at a festival, if you're at a show of yours and you're like are backstage or something, or you just don't look like a stereotypical DJ. frankly.
Yeah.
Right? Is that a bad assumption?
No, like I mean, I get recognized like enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'll like, it's a tough question because you don't know who actually knows your music,
right?
Unless you talk to them.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's people who know of me but don't know what I look like, and like, yeah, you're right. I'm not into like DJ fashion or like high fashion clothes or anything. I just like dress like
Like you normally do.
I buy like all my shit at the Gap.
Ooh, nice.
I love the
Plug.
Gap.
That's good.
Shouts
Shout
out to the Gap.
Are you sponsored by Gap?
Yeah, they should sponsor
Yeah.
you guys. Actually, they
Ooh.
should sponsor the podcast.
I'm down.
I heard that.
We don't have any sponsors yet.
We don't. I saw
But-
you were looking for Mountain Dew to sponsor you.
Yeah,
So
I
Wow.
was telling
Dude,
you
he
about
was
that.
just telling me
I
about
was
that when we got
telling-
food.
Yeah, I told him
Because
that
he
earlier.
he was sponsored or is still sponsored by Taco Bell,
what?
which
Yeah.
sounds like the
It-
best.
I
It
was,
was
gonna
like
say
a-
that sounds.
It was like this thing. They were like, okay, we're sponsoring people that are going on tour, and I was like, oh, I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So we applied, and they were like, yeah, here's like some Taco Bell shit, and I was like, okay.
and that was it, though.
Yeah, they gave me like $500 to Taco Bell.
Dude.
That's like a
really-
year-long
really,
subscription.
really random.
Yeah.
And like, I haven't even had a chance to like use it at all.
Because they don't work in.
Yeah, they don't work in Canada.
Yeah.
So I can only use them in the States.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, speaking of touring, you've done part of the Odesza tour, a few Odesza tours. Just one? Just this past one?
Actually, I played 2 shows with them like a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. I wouldn't call it a tour. It was just like
Yeah, a couple
2
shows.
random
Wow,
shows that
sort
were
of,
like
yeah.
back to back. It was like Sacramento and like San Diego, I think. And then this year they were like, yeah, come on the
Full thing.
big album tour thing that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nah. And then they
Really?
You said no, really?
And then they convinced me. No, I
Oh,
said
okay.
yeah, like
I
immediately.
was like,
And then
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it was good. And then I got home from that, and they were like, hey, we want you to come do more of the tour now. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm gonna do like Boston and
Yeah.
stuff
Some
next.
huge spots.
Yeah, it
Barclays.
was Staples Center, like all these like massive, like yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
so
now-
what's it like going from? Because not only did you do that, you did these huge arenas, some of the biggest in the world, but then you transition into your own headlining shows. Of
It's funny.
200 people, 500 people, things like that. What's the big difference there? Is there a different mental preparation beforehand? Is besides like the actual stage being smaller and shit like that? You know, like what's the big difference for you?
Well, I'm playing a way longer set. So like on the Odesza tour, it's like a 30-minute opening like show. But on my tour, I'm playing for like 75, 80 minutes. So it's like a lot longer. I had to do like a lot more prep. And it's weird because like you go from playing in front of like 10,000 people a night or more.
Yeah.
And then I'm like maybe getting 200 in these rooms.
Oh, you're getting
But
200.
it's like, it's fine though because the energy's so different because everyone's there for you, I guess. So they've felt really fun. Like
Do you,
sometimes when I'm playing those big crowds with Odesza, it's like everyone's there for Odesza, so they're just kind of waiting and like they're having fun, but like they're not like super invested in it.
yeah.
But like for the headlining shows, like that's what they paid for. Like they like this. So
so do you prefer, not necessarily that you don't enjoy playing the big shows, but do you prefer playing the smaller ones where you know everyone's there because they enjoy your music, or at least they're there to listen to your music?
I don't think I prefer either. I think
They're just different.
like the headlining shows are great because it's like the energy and it's super fun, and those like bigger shows where I'm a support act they're also great because I know I can see it like every night. Like I'm gaining a lot of fans. Like I'll play like one show with Odesza and get like 250 Instagram followers or something, and
Wow.
that's like now that's like 250 more people who are like interested in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a headlining show, that doesn't really happen because they're all there to see you anyways, unless they're like bringing a friend that may not have heard
Yeah.
of you or something. But
Yeah.
I find you gain a lot more on the support tours.
And what is that like mental preparation for those sets? I mean, obviously it's shorter, but you also have to be kind of more particular with what songs you're going to play because you only have 30 minutes or something to get their attention?
That actually is really tough. I before the Odesza tour, I was really struggling like with what to cut out of the set because I was used to the summer when I was doing festivals and you're playing an hour, and then I'm now thrown into this like doing a 30-minute set, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know like what to cut out. And I think I'm thinking back, we actually convinced them to let us do 35 minutes because I got to a point where I was like, I don't know what else I can cut out.
Yeah.
And like, thankfully, they were just like so nice, and they were like, "Yeah, like we'll let you do an extra 5 minutes."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, great."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That like really helped. Like
Well,
they have no idea how much that helped.
Because if for people that haven't seen you live, it's a mixture of your own originals,
Yeah.
and then obviously other people's remixes or things like that. But you're playing live throughout it. It's not just it's not a DJ set. Essentially,
The Odesza set, at least, it's all me.
100. It's all your music.
Yeah, because it's so short.
Right.
That
That's just
it's all my originals, remixes, or all that stuff.
Yeah.
The headlining set, I had to throw in like a bunch of stuff that's not mine because I don't have enough music yet.
Yeah. So on that note, you've for being a successful electronic artist, you have relatively a small amount of original music that's actually out, right? I mean, how many originals, like not remixes or things,
like that I actually acknowledge.
no, that are out to the public?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Like technically 3, but like realistically 1.
what.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Stay is the only
Stay,
is the
yeah.
only one that you acknowledge as your original.
Yeah, the other ones are just like they were like fun little things that
Yeah.
I did, but like I think they're garbage.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think they suck.
So is this just like how your creative process works? You do small amount, but you want it to be really good. I mean, I know we have talked about before, Evan and I have mentioned, like, we're always waiting to see what next song you put out or remix, and like, they're always great. And so I mean, I think that's a good part of it. Like, you don't put out a lot of stuff like other artists might at times, and you, as someone that's listening, sometimes you're like, well, this one was okay. Maybe the next one will be really good. And you find a really good one out of every
It's
so
not a
often.
question of quality. It's
No.
every one that you come out with, it's going to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm definitely like a quality over quantity type of person.
Even if that means that it's just the whole process kind of
yeah
is way more selective.
I mean,
therefore
yeah,
taking
like
longer.
Stay came out like over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I've done remixes since then, but not even a lot of them. I think I've only done like
3, 4.
3.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm working on this project, and it's great. I love where it's going, but it's coming together very slowly because I think I'm very picky, and also just like I want everything to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want everything. I want to like be proud of everything at least.
There's
so
a certain quality you want it to have at least.
yeah,
And
like
you
I
won't
just
put it out if it doesn't hit
Yeah.
that level.
like
Right.
I was talking before. Like I technically have those 3 originals out, but I've like discarded the 2. Like I don't want anything that I'm gonna like be like, you know what? Actually, I hate this because it's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So I just want everything to be good in my eyes, and then
Yeah.
I'll put it out there. But it takes a while.
Yeah.
I
How
think.
how many songs do you think you've like started or even finished, but then decided that you didn't want to put them out? Like just a estimate, if you have
Like
an idea.
probably like 70.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
Like
songs like they just didn't hit the cut. They didn't make the cut.
yeah, not necessarily like full finished like
Yeah.
4-minute songs,
Right.
but like I have like probably like 400 ideas on my computer.
You want to play them? You want to
Yeah,
release
we'll
them
just-
on the pod?
Do you
All
have a-
400.
Do you have a day?
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, and like some of the stuff you make
400,
is just,
really?
like, yeah, but like some of the stuff you make is just really bad or really simple or really like amateur, and like that's gonna happen. You kind of have to get that stuff out of the way,
Yeah.
and then you finally get like a good idea, and then you can expand on that and everything. But yeah, there's so much stuff that I wouldn't feel comfortable with people hearing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like,
Just because it's not good.
yeah, it's just like not
you.
up to
Yeah.
my standards. I'm sure other people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," or
Right.
like, they probably wouldn't love it, but they'd be like, I don't know why you think that's bad. And
Yeah.
like, it's not bad. It's just not
As
really
good as you
good
want it to
or
be.
what I want it to be, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it seems like there's two routes, and part of the podcast for us, what we want to do is talk with artists about the state of their genre. So electronic music in a broad scope for you. You know, when we think of artists that are in the same realm as you, or you can even throw in, you know, DJ producers, DJs that whatever. You know, I think there's two routes of being very selective, like the U's of the world and Odessas and things like that, where it's album based. You're not cranking out singles every month. And then there's people that, you know, try to make the repetitive bangers, and you'll never see them put out an album. That's not even me like shitting on them. You know, guys like DJ Snake, I think they're fantastic and they're very talented guys, but like they're, you know, it's just a different aim.
Yeah, there's definitely different ways to go about it. And I think like the people who are really good at writing like just standalone, like really pop singles that will just like crush it are the ones that typically do that, like the Chainsmokers and like DJ Snake and like Marshmello, exactly. Like they and it feels like they don't really have a story to tell, or at least they don't really care to tell one yet. But like I don't know, I've just always like dreamt of making an album. I just like think it's so cool to have a full project of like cohesive but like kind of diverse things all together.
Yeah.
Have something fall under like one concept.
Yeah, and like it's kind of like creating an era for like that music you were making at that time.
Yeah.
Because like albums, like next album, people will be like, oh, he sounds like kind of different, and like.
And you think
Of course,
that's right.
like-
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it in all genres of like, you know, it doesn't. I like their old stuff because that's
Yeah.
what they first latched onto, and it's like, well, you can't be frustrated at Kanye West for,
Trying to make
you know,
Yeah, of course.
making
he's-
new sound.
He's
It's
gonna
like,
be experimenting like crazy, and,
Right.
like trying to come up with like the next new thing. And,
Yeah.
like that's the whole point in making music for some people is just like finding something new that can excite people.
so you feel like it's natural then the way that you essentially discard two of your original songs just because you don't like them anymore. They don't reach the standards. Do you feel like it's natural for people to hate their earlier stuff or fall away from it?
I think that's like a totally natural thing.
Yeah.
Like Bon Iver, he like never plays Skinny Love live. Like he just everyone has those
the
songs that they
you-
hate.
Yeah, especially I mean, in some cases, like you talk about Radiohead, they never wanted to play Creep because everyone loved it, and that was the only thing that they were identified with, and
Yeah.
they didn't, not necessarily maybe that they didn't want to be identified by it, but they don't want to just be linked to one thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
even
putting out albums, and people are latching onto one small song they made.
Porter Robinson tweeted something like a couple months ago, and like made a Spotify playlist. He was like, "These are the only 8 songs that I've ever made," even though he's made more
that
than
he
8.
likes.
Wow.
He's made way more than 8 songs, but he
Yeah.
was like, "These are the only 8,"
Yeah.
and like made it like very clear, like those are like he doesn't give a shit about anything else.
I've heard his sessions are like 200 hours on single songs, stuff like that. But,
Yeah, he definitely.
Yeah?
Like he's had some. I remember him explaining like one of his projects for one of his songs was actually 3 separate projects because his computer like couldn't handle it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like
Really? All
Yeah.
on the same song though?
yeah. I think it was
different stems
I think it was
and-
Fellow Feeling. Like
Really?
there was just like way too much stuff, so he had to cut it into like 3 different files.
Huh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And now he has another persona with
Virtual self.
virtual self.
If you listen to that at all? Virtual
Yeah,
self
I
stuff?
think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's
like,
cool.
It's cool to me because you can tell he's just like having fun. He's like,
Well, this is
I
like
mean-
music I can make that doesn't necessarily fall under Porter Robinson.
Yeah.
That persona he created for his certain type of music, and he's like, I have this other type of music that I enjoy making.
yeah.
So-
And I'm sure it's so stressful. Like after you have like such a success like Worlds, now he's like, fuck, like how do I follow that up?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's like so stressful. So it's cool that he's just taking time to like have fun before he really like dives back into that.
Yeah, it's got to be. We were talking about the other day of like whatever happens next for him, original music wise, it's going to be the most highly anticipated song
It's
record.
gonna be
I mean,
huge.
yeah, and it has to be, which of course is unfair pressure for his fans or whatever to
like,
put on
if
him.
there's like any news of
Oh yeah.
like a Porter Robinson single, like,
Yeah.
even if it's like a rumor, like people will go nuts
Yeah.
because like
I mean,
they're waiting. Like
I remember Frank Ocean just before Blonde, before
he has a similar
his
kind of
video album came out.
whatever that came out.
I just remember it was like there's rumors like March whatever date, like I heard it here, it's coming out, and then everyone would be so disappointed when it didn't happen.
Right.
And then like 6 months later, some other little rumor would show up of like something that's significant.
But they weren't even him. It wasn't even
No,
him.
exactly. It
noting
was just
anything.
like
It was
random
people,
rumors that kind of
formulating
formulate,
theories,
and people
and
were
stuff.
waiting for 4 years to every little tweet or Tumblr or anything he posted.
It's like the thing he just
that's,
said about.
that's so crazy.
Yeah. Could you how would you feel about? I mean, obviously there's anticipation about music coming. Your new music to come, but how would you feel about that type of like
Pressure.
potential pressure?
It
From
would
from a
be-
world standpoint.
It would. I can only imagine it would be so uncomfortable. Like, there's people waiting on me for music, but like not that many. Like, I get like the occasional tweet here and there, but like realistically, no one's like dying for a Chet Porter album. Like, I'm still like a.
We'll tweet at you more
Yeah.
often.
Well, I'm not. on Twitter, but-
I'm still like a fairly new
Yeah.
artist, I guess. So it's like, I mean, I'm stressed like about the album, but at the same time, like I try to remind myself like this is my first album,
Yeah.
or EP or whatever project.
Yeah,
I don't know what
project.
it's gonna be yet, but
yeah.
it's this is the first one, so like I can take my time. I think
For sure.
And, like,
I don't know. I mean, things have been going relatively well. Again, you put out Stay over a year ago, and you've probably had the busiest year of your career this year, right?
yeah,
With no new
Actually-
original music.
I don't know if it was the busiest, but like it was the best, which
Yeah.
is a good sign.
Yeah.
Just because you just weren't touring, you weren't doing as much, or I mean, obviously,
I mean, I think I played less
Volume.
shows this year maybe,
Mhm.
but like I did some like big festivals and like got some milestones, and like I played stadiums this year,
Yeah.
which is weird,
yeah, that's
and like all this stuff. So
Mhm.
it was definitely a good year. But in terms of volume, I think it was. I would say it was my biggest year. Yeah.
that's cool.
Nice.
There you go.
Well, kind of switching it up a little bit. You're part of Moving Castle, right?
Yeah.
And part of Foreign Family.
Yeah.
So you're part of collectives or labels that were made by artists, basically originally. Although Moving
Right.
Castle has parts that aren't
Yeah.
artists. But how do you feel about artists creating these spaces for other artists to be able to put out music and produce music, and like how important is it to you to be a part of these collectives or labels?
I think it's super important actually.
A lot of the electronic genre or whatever, it seems like they've been able to be successful without these labels, these larger ones.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, because of things like, I mean, just the way that the internet works and music works now, but also because it has a lot more of a artist first or artist founded collective kind of mindset, and that's clearly helping you and lots of
Yeah.
other people. I mean, that's how I had first heard about you, was Foreign Family and just following them.
Yeah, it's also just way more like friendly and cool. Like we have like group chats and like get to hear each other's new music, and like
It's cool.
Yeah.
it's just way more.
Well, it's also
of,
the people
like,
you're probably touring with or seeing at the festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's your peers.
It's-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That too. They don't just help with like label stuff. Like Odesza like brought me on tour because it's like, oh, it's like Foreign Family. Like they want to help you in like every way they can, if they can. So like they brought me on the tour, and maybe they'll bring me on another one. Who knows? I don't know. But
Yeah.
like they just want to help like as much as they can.
For sure. Yeah, it's clearly been a big resource. Do you feel like it's essential
I don't
for
know if-
anyone trying to make electronic music?
I don't know if it's essential to like. Are you asking if it's essential to like be
Like-
in like a collective?
Like if I
or-
were to just start making music and put it on my SoundCloud page and it started getting traction here and there, but like
It's
to,
so-
to be a successful artist.
It's so hard now because SoundCloud's like at its death. It's
Yeah?
like I think SoundCloud's like in its grave now.
You think so?
Like I feel bad for smaller artists because, like, I think I just caught like the tail end of SoundCloud where like people were really into it and like paying attention and like actually doing some real streaming and everything. But now Spotify's like totally taken over, and it's like a totally different interface. Like you can't like repost things. You can't like you know what I mean. So I feel like it's probably way harder to get discovered, quote unquote.
Well, I know
right now
Evan and I both use SoundCloud a lot too,
Yeah,
especially for like electronic and young rappers. And now, those two kind of genres have always kind of been there since SoundCloud started.
Totally.
And I do recognize in the last year kind of how it's been harder and harder to find new people on there. You still kind of have the SoundCloud
There's more
rap,
white noise.
but yeah, I think
You-
it's been a little bit harder. And
You can even just notice, like, I put out a remix recently, and I don't even think, let's look. Yeah, it has like 70,000 streams.
Really?
If I put it out a year ago, it would probably be at 1 million.
Really?
Yeah.
so it's
And
getting
if-
all those plays, but it's on Spotify now instead of
Yeah,
SoundCloud.
it's just like, I feel like people aren't using SoundCloud as much.
Yeah.
So, like,
So that's what it
it's-
is from your perspective. It's just a
Yeah.
decrease in
and then like
the amount
if
of
people aren't
on
looking
it.
at SoundCloud, like these really young like new artists don't necessarily have like the ability to put their stuff on Spotify, and even if they do, a lot of Spotify is like playlisting and
Yeah.
like everything, so like no one is gonna just randomly find this artist on Spotify unless it's in a big playlist or something.
Yeah.
So I think it's like way harder for people now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as far as like having a personality in electronic music, obviously there's varying degrees of that. And
Totally.
This is something that I love talking about with music fans, producers, whoever it is, but this obvious craze about the personality of a producer being more important or more important than maybe the music. So, people like Marshmello. It's nothing against Marshmello's music, frankly. I don't care for it, but it's neither here nor there. But it's obvious that him being who he, with the mask and the name and the aesthetic of it is probably one of his. It's his calling card. It's probably how a lot of people have heard about him and what keeps him very relevant and popular. So, and it's not even just him. I didn't mean to single him out, but obviously he's probably the biggest
Yeah,
kind
it's
of brand producer. We would love to hear your thoughts or.
It's interesting because like before he was doing the Marshmello thing, it was just like really all he did was made his music a little bit more poppy and then put a helmet on and now
Yeah.
he's like one of the biggest
He was
artists in the world.
.com,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's
I mean
what
like
it is.
I feel like at this point we can just
Yeah.
you're allowed to acknowledge it. Like, a lot of people know anyways, so
Right.
it's like who cares? And
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everyone can know and it's not going to affect how
No,
his project
no,
does.
for
Like
sure.
not anymore at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't
Do you hate it? Do you like it?
hate
really
it.
care for
I
it?
thought I hated it for a while, and
Yeah.
then I was like, you know what? Like, if that's like, it was smart. It worked.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So I don't know if I can hate on it because it was like a genius idea.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe if I ever had some like secret side project,
There you
I'd-
go. That'd be the time to
I'd
do it.
wear
Yeah.
some sort of like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the mask thing is super interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't think it's not necessarily a mask, but I think like the mystery is what's interesting. Like even like Cashmere Cat before you got to see his face, it was always just hair in front of his face and stuff like that. Like I thought that was cool. It was like, who is this? Like
Same with Elohim. She
is
kind
it
of does
is it
like
a girl? Is it a guy? Like
Right.
yeah. Elohim's a little like less subtle.
Yeah.
Also, it might be because I know her. I like know a bunch of stuff about her and like
Right.
everything, but she's not like a huge mystery. She just has hair in front.
Yeah.
of her.
Right.
yeah.
It's more just like it's the aesthetic of
Yeah.
like almost like covered up. They're
Well,
not.
Cashmere Cat, like even when you knew his name and stuff, like I think it was until last year maybe that he did his first interview whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
He, like,
someone
never
went to Norway
did
to his
interviews.
home. So like it was very much
Fader
not
thing.
only like I don't really want to be seen, but just I don't want to talk.
He just didn't care for it.
Yeah, exactly.
cool.
Like he was just shy and wanted to make music and play
Yeah.
it, but didn't necessarily want to have to be a celebrity or
Yeah,
Right.
he was super shy. I remember reading something like he moved to New York because Benny Blanco was like, "Hey, like you should come here," and then he like made him go in a session with like some rapper or something. I forget who it was, and like he just like cried. He like went to the bathroom and cried because he
Really?
was like
Wow.
overwhelmed. He was like, "I can't believe like I'm in a room with this person," and like
overwhelmed with happiness, or he was like he had
like
just
freaking
never,
out.
Really?
Like, yeah, like he was just shy and like
Damn.
like not good at talking to people and like telling them what to do and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I think
That's wild.
so he just never did interviews. He like didn't show his face.
Mhm.
Like his old promo pics used to be like his friend that
Yeah.
was a girl.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean,
Like no one knew if he was like a guy or a girl. Like
Mhm.
a lot of people thought he was a girl for like,
Yeah.
for like a really long time.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Catch Me Cat.
Yeah. Shout out to Sketch Cat. What do you think is something that's like misunderstood about being a full-time musician? Like, what is one thing you kind of wish the general public understood more? And it could be just music industry in general, or being a DJ or producer, because you still have a lot of people also that think like all you do is go up there and push play.
Yeah, it's not even about that. For me, it's like everyone thinks I'm like having fun all the time or like I'm always like partying or something. And it's like, no, man, like I'm sick. I'm like getting on an airplane and like I get off the plane, I go straight to the venue, I do sound check, I like go somewhere to get food, play the show, like go to my hotel, and then like fly somewhere the next morning. And it's like
It's not
there's
the rock
not
star
a lot of
lifestyle.
partying, and it's like not always fun. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't know. I think it's like there's always like a jealousy thing. I think people are like, oh, that's so cool that you get to do that, and like it is cool, and I'm like super grateful. But like
It's work.
they like all of my friends, at least I'll use this as an example, but like I like stopped getting invited to things because they think I'm not around.
Yeah.
And like they all get to go to like our friends' housewarmings. They got their first apartment and like birthdays, and like I never get to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like I love doing this, but like it's not always glamorous, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Mhm.
And probably even on the level, I mean, you can speak to like the Odesza size. It's even when they have more of a team or it's a bigger production with more people doing a lot of this work for them. It's even for them, it's got to be
Work.
It's just
Totally.
draining. It's
Well,
work. you know?
Totally.
Yeah, it's-
And like they fly out their girlfriends sometimes because they're just like
I miss people.
it sucks. Yeah, they're just like I want my girlfriend to be here, so they'll like try and like get her time off work and like come for the weekend or something. It's like
That's cool.
yeah, like luckily they're able to do that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't have a girlfriend. So.
That's the reason. That's the reason why. If anyone out there wants to be Chet's girlfriend,
If anyone
Yeah,
is out there,
anybody?
please.
If you have a lot of miles too.
yeah, if you got money or you got miles, something like that. I don't know.
Those are great things.
Yeah, those are always good things to look for.
Yeah.
in people
I
in
mean,
general.
as far as the like pushing play whole thing, it's just like that doesn't really bother me.
It doesn't?
I know what I'm doing. Like,
So-
if you don't, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me really.
Yeah. Do you like what? This is the other. There's like two pillars that I really love talking about in electronic music. It's the kind of brand idea, and then so many people questioning what they're actually doing up there. So obviously, it's a live set. There's a difference between that and the DJ set, and you play live more than anything. So
Yeah.
what exactly are you doing up there?
Well, I mean, like, is it like if you see the set and then you're like, what is he doing? Then like you're an idiot.
Right.
It's like really obvious what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You can see everything. But
Yeah.
for people that haven't seen it, I think it's totally fair for them to be like, what do you do? Like, do you just press play? And then I'll just be like, no, I do this and this and this and
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of not even in electronic music. There's indie rock stuff. There's so much more modern music. People think it's all being done live in them if they see the instruments and things like that. And there's always some recorded,
Yeah.
laptop hidden
always,
somewhere.
Always. There's
Yeah.
always backing tracks
Yeah.
like with like background vocals or
I
like
was gonna say,
pads. or,
even if
like-
it's just a singer or pop singer,
Yeah.
a lot of times they have backtrack because
It sounds
it
great.
sounds great.
yeah,
you know?
no, yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
like
mean
a
they're not doing
huge
anything
thing.
live. It just means
It's a show.
It's a show.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to have a band one day.
Yeah.
I think.
That's the dream.
I just think it's way cooler when there's multiple people on stage, like interacting and like doing different things. It's like way more visually stimulating than like me
Even
by
if you're
myself, like
playing.
running over to different instruments.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather just be on one instrument or a couple, and then have like other people doing other things, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I think that's why the Odesza show is so cool, is because it's like two guys, and like sometimes they're so synchronized, and then sometimes they're doing things that are totally different, and then like other people come out, and it's just like so fun all the time.
I mean, the drum line they have is
The drum line is
incredible.
Whoever thought of that is like,
it's a genius idea.
Yeah.
it really is,
It really
because
is.
it's so stimulating to the eye, and I think drum lines in general have a badass reputation, and they're so on, like, it's just cool.
Dude, they're so talented. It's
Is it the
insane.
Colorado drum line? Colorado State or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
Like
It's-
brought these guys on tour with
It's
them.
really
or
crazy
people.
how talented they are.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to teach me some stuff, and it's like insane.
Really?
I don't know how they do this stuff. It's
Wow.
like they
Yeah.
must have like started when they were like
Super
so
young.
young.
The syncopation of their stuff
Oh,
too. The show that I saw,
incredible.
they're like switch. You know, they're tossing the
Yeah.
sticks to each other and they're switching.
They
between
never
drums.
drop it. Like
It's insane.
It's really crazy.
They said I think they've been working for like 6 years together, like that drum line.
Yeah, they've known each other for a really long time.
Yeah.
Well, on like a bigger scale, like in EDM in general, you know, whatever the heck that term means anymore. You being at these bigger shows, playing festivals, what people would call raves, you know, what's it like on a different note as far as like the drug culture, from your perspective as an artist? Because
I've never really noticed it.
Really?
Actually. I don't know. I think there was one time where after a set, this girl was like, "Hey, like, do you want to take acid with me?" And I was like, And it was like this really awkward silence,
great.
and then
Yeah.
she just like put it in my mouth. And I
Oh,
was like,
whoa, nice.
okay. And then I talked to her for like 2 more minutes, and then I just spat it out because I was like, "There's no way I'm doing acid right now
No.
at this festival." And I'm like, I mean, like, there's always people,
that'll do that.
yeah, and like people are gonna do drugs, I think, but I think they should be really safe about it and get like testing kits. Like maybe festivals should have testing kits. I don't know, because like
Yeah, I've heard of some.
people are
bigger
gonna
ones that-
people are gonna sneak them in either way.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
it sucks when people like get hurt because of it or like die.
Yeah.
And it definitely happens.
Well, do you think it like gives EDM or just like electronic music a bad name and like bad? There's always like a kind of negative connotation sometimes with it.
Yeah, but I think it's unfair to say it's just EDM, because like
Yeah.
it happens at like there's like rap at these festivals too,
Yeah,
and
that's
like
true.
like Radiohead played Coachella, but
People after a heavy metal show would go up to you and put acid in your mouth still, I think. And
yeah,
would,
like I think it's
happens
like
everywhere.
it's a music festival thing in general. I think,
right.
and
people partying.
it's not a problem as long as people are smart about it and
Mm-hmm.
safe about it. But like they're not always gonna be down again.
What do you think has been the biggest crowd you've played? Was it Staples Center?
20,000. Well,
It wasn't, because I was the opener, so
Yeah.
people are like making their way in,
And
like
in LA.
buying pretzels and shit. But like, I played this festival called Nocturnal Wonderland, and I had like a 10 p.m. set time, maybe.
late, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Late for, I guess some of those ones go to like sunrise.
Yeah, I don't know. That one ended kind of early. I was like the third last set or something
Okay.
on that stage. And then I thought no one was going to come because I was up against that guy, okay. He was like playing on the main stage.
Yeah.
But like there were like 14,000 people
Oh,
in my
wow.
set. It was really cool.
That's wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like a dope feeling. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
shit. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone was going to be here. And
Yeah.
it was like the opposite.
Do you like playing those big festivals where the fireworks and pyro and all that kind of stuff? All good.
EDC was weird.
Yeah.
People always like come up to me and they're like, "You're so good at EDC," but like in my head, I'm like, EDC was a disaster. Like that's what I thought.
Disaster from your standpoint,
from
or?
my standpoint,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But I guess I just interpreted
Different ways.
it differently because I played like really late. It was like 3 a.m. and people were like sitting down. Like everyone in the crowd was sitting down.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
They're just tired.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh man, no one likes it. Like they're all just chilling here. But then I got like tons of tweets being like, that was so relaxing, and like I loved that. Like you were my favorite set. And I was like, oh, okay, that's like not so bad. So now I think I have to accept that like not everyone's gonna be necessarily like dancing or like going super crazy during my set. Like they might just be like standing there and taking it in, which is like totally fine, because you think like Bon Iver is like playing a set, like no one's gonna be like
Dancing,
jumping
and
around,
jumping,
like
yeah.
headbanging,
No,
Yeah.
like,
But it could be the best set they
But they're
see.
loving
it could be
it.
their favorite ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was actually my favorite set of last year.
Yeah?
It was that, and it was
Coachella?
so good. Yeah,
That new
It was
record's his best one.
incredible.
Yeah.
That stuff is so incredible.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he just did the record front to back.
Is that what he did?
Yeah.
Because he's yet to
Wow.
play Seattle show off that, and I'm like, yeah, that's.
I wonder if he will, because like,
He's done like select dates around. He'll do
Yeah.
like 3 in Austin and then like go home.
but he did like
you know.
6 in Brooklyn or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like-
but he's
well,
not
it's like
doing,
one city, but he's doing like 6 nights.
right? Because he wants to find they want to find the right room and all that stuff.
Which is
Like,
totally fair. I
yeah,
think
No, absolutely.
When you're at that
if you can
level-
tour like that,
Yeah.
when
sounds
you're
great.
at that level, like find the room you want, go to the room, do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Make all the money there, and then
Yeah.
you can go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole process of them putting that record out, and like I heard that the voice recorder thing that he used on so many.
OP1?
Yeah. So do you know anything about that? Did he make? I had always heard that they like made that.
No,
But there's not
they
many
didn't
of
make
them.
that.
Okay.
But it's
got
this
bad
really
sources.
cool like sampler. It's pretty popular actually.
Bursting Evans bubble.
I want to get one. It's kind of
I
expensive.
saw-
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not very
It's
good
like-
at research.
it's shockingly expensive.
Oh, wow.
Like I thought it would be way cheaper.
1,000.
It's just this little tiny thing.
Oh,
like,
what?
That's how big it is.
Wow.
But it's like
he like runs his voice
it's
through
like
that.
thousands of dollars.
It's like a little keyboard for those of you.
This
Yeah.
is good
That
radio. We're looking at photos.
Really good radio that we're doing here, but yeah, I know because whenever I see Baths play live, he has one of those or something that looks very
Yeah.
similar to it.
Yeah, Baths definitely sounds like this is something he would use.
Yeah, and RAC. I've seen RAC record.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Well, we always try to end with we call it personal. Who's the most famous person in your cell phone?
In my cell phone?
Yeah.
Probably Odesza.
Besides Odessa, that seems like an
Besides
obvious one.
Odessa.
Besides
Cop
Odessa,
out.
we should have.
Can I pull out my phone?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
dude, do it for sure.
If you want to call them or, you
feel
know.
free to- dude, no, you're supposed to wait until after.
I don't think I'll call.
Oh, that's okay.
I
We'll,
don't-
we'll
there
see who
might-
it is. Let's see who it is.
I don't even know if there
Other
would be.
guests we've had have had Rick Ross.
Wow.
Yeah, which we found out it was not like he
Maybe-
had taken he took the number from someone else who had Rick Ross's number.
Well, that's weird. That's a weird
Couple
thing to do.
Seahawks players, which
Seahawks
is big for us. Big in Seattle, at least. Who's the? Oh, Black, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
The 6 Black.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, someone had his number.
Uh,
Wait for big ones. Come on, who do you got?
Odessa, Jai Wolf.
Ooh, Jai Wolf. You want to call Jai Wolf? What's he doing right now?
Lewis the Child.
Ooh, both of them.
MNDR.
Oh,
Pizzaville. That's my favorite pizza place.
dude, hit up Pizzaville.
Shout out
Let's call it.
Pizzaville.
Yeah,
Another hopeful sponsor.
dude, we got to get you sponsored.
Ryan Hemsworth.
Ooh,
Ryan.
You got Alice in Wonderlands?
I don't actually.
Oh.
Tokyo Police Club.
Oh,
I
Now he
think
just
that's
name
really
dropping.
it. Like
if
I
you
don't-
had to call one of them, and knowing that, like, okay, out of all the people you just listed right now, you have to call one and they have to respond. Who do you pick? Like, they'll pick up.
I would probably just call Jai Wolf then.
Yeah, he would for sure pick up.
Yeah, we talk like every day, so that's
so
an
he
easy
would.
one.
Any Jai Wolf, Chet Porter songs?
No, actually.
Oh.
But it would probably be an easy thing to do.
Yeah?
If we both wanted to, I'm sure.
He seems like a similar creative process kind of guy.
Yeah, we're like in the same world.
Name 3 people who would be in your version of the music video "Boys" by Charlie XCX.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good question.
Thanks, man. I wrote that one myself.
Whoa. Does that mean I have to think they're like really hot? Or
Just people you
no.
want in the music video.
I think there are people in that video Charlie XCX is not attracted to.
yeah. I think
Fat
they're people
Jewish is
that
in
she
there.
likes.
No offense, Fat Jewish. Just
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no offense.
Personalities and
Wow. Like anyone in the world?
Yeah.
dude,
Just
whatever you
3
want.
people you
If
want.
it's too big of a question, we can find some qualifiers to make it
Shit.
less daunting.
I don't know.
Producers.
They have to be producers.
Yeah, I mean, if it's too daunting to pick anyone in the world.
Okay.
You didn't pick your dad, though, so that's kind of...
Producer.
Yeah.
Maybe just like... I'm trying to get someone funny, like Dylan Francis or something.
Yep.
And then like... Maybe just get Jai Wolf because he's like my friend, and that would also be funny.
Mm-hmm.
You got two. I was
Maybe like... And like... I guess it has to be boys.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, it does have to be boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of
I was
the
going
point
to say
of it.
mix in a girl, but like you can't.
That's kind of against it. If you had to pick a girl, who would it be? Yeah. Did you have
I
one
guess
in
like
mind?
Allison Wonderland.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool too. Yeah.
Or like... Is this Tennyson right now?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, Luke.
Oh,
From Tennyson.
Do you know Luke?
Yeah. Well, like...
You know.
I don't-
You guys are familiar.
Yeah. Like, we know each other, but we're not like...
Friends.
Yeah.
It's
Not
like
yet.
one of my favorite groups.
We probably
yeah,
would be friends.
Yeah, you guys would be friends.
We haven't hung out that much.
Have you ever looked at a picture of him next to Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Because they look exactly the same.
Yep.
That's really funny, actually.
Dude.
That you say that.
Every time I see them, I pull that picture up and I just show people around me. I'm like,
Literally.
They're both so funny and talented.
he seems like the funniest kid.
They really
they're
are.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like, they are the funniest kids ever.
We got two
Right,
more questions
yeah. Who would win in a fight between Harrison and Clay?
of Odesza.
Clay.
Easily?
I think Clay.
Why?
Yeah. I hope they
You
don't
think
listen.
Harrison's weak? Trust me, dude. No one's gonna listen to this podcast. You're fine. Well, maybe one day, but probably not.
But yeah, I honestly think Clay would just like beat his ass.
Yeah. There's just no reason why? He's just like a
Clay's like kind of jacked.
yeah,
Like low key. I think it's
Okay.
like
low key kind of jacked.
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
But they both work out. Like I don't know.
Do they have a trainer?
In one of those tour videos, yeah, they
See in
see
the
him.
interview, they have
Saw
a little
that.
trainer.
We're like, wow, that's the rock and roll world, people. This is the last question. We should probably switch these around so we don't end on this one. But have you heard the theory of Avril Lavigne?
Are you talking about like how she was replaced?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think Avril Lavigne's dead or alive?
Dude, I don't know because I haven't like I would need to like see her in person.
What do you know about the theory to provide our few listeners a little insight?
So she like died and they got someone to replace her.
Right. So back in
And it's supposed to be so that people don't know that she died.
yeah.
So he can make money off of
So
new music.
her in like 2003 or something like that, her grandfather died, and who she was really close with. So then the story is that she committed suicide, and prior to that, her record label had a doppelganger for her that they would send out at like big events for paparazzi because she didn't like dealing with paparazzi. So while this lookalike was moving around the crowd, that is confirmed that they hired this person to do this stuff. Avril would be able to go in the back of the building without being seen, whatever. But the theory is that she committed suicide after her grandfather passed away, and the record label already had all these plans for records and stuff like that, so they just put this woman in there. And there's like theories of people see that there's different freckles on her arm, her handwriting's changed, her eyes are tilted differently. So we like to see if anyone thinks that she's dead or alive.
It's really interesting because like when did her and Sum 41 guy?
You mean
before?
Nickelback?
No.
No.
Oh,
Before
she was
that-
with-
married.
Before that, she was
Yeah.
with the guy from Sum 41.
Yeah.
They were married?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
they were married.
Yeah. And then
She's been around.
so like
Maybe they broke up before.
maybe their breakup was actually just like she died.
Dude,
Okay.
Chet just fucking.
I don't know, but I don't know what year that was. Like I don't know. You said 2003.
2003 is when. Well, because then the other thing is that the next album to come out was Under My Skin.
I think
and
they
there's like a
dated-
few songs that's like, oh my gosh, if someone was writing this from the perspective.
I
of,
think they got together after 2000.
we're looking this up right now. This is again a great radio bid here, but we have to figure out if Avril Lavigne is it was with a guy from Sum 41, which we don't know his name, or not. So we'll have to figure this out.
His name was Derek Whibley.
Derek Whibley of Sum 41. It's all right. We'll chop this
Also,
up. So.
as a fellow Canadian, Chet would.
Yeah, dude,
No.
she's Canadian. Yeah, she is. Forgot about that.
I thought you were a big fan.
Of Avril Lavigne. I do like Avril Lavigne a lot. What's not to like? Did you just Google when did they break up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
It's okay. We can.
I think they divorced in like 2009 or 2010.
Okay.
So, but maybe they divorced because he found out that wasn't the real album.
Yeah, dude, they tried to replace her, and then he stumbled on her birth certificate in her sock drawer, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this isn't my wife." And then that's it. Yeah. Well, that seems like a good enough time, good enough
Great.
place to end the pod.
Can we
so-
keep talking about conspiracy theories
Dude,
after?
oh, for sure,
we-
for sure,
Okay,
for
after we
sure.
log off.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Well,
thank you so much, man, for sitting down with
Dude,
us.
no
Really
problem.
Appreciate it. So,
A lot of fun.
new music to come.
Yeah, it'll be a while still, but
fine. That's right. Just,
yeah,
just-
I'm stoked where everything's going. So
Cool. You'll premiere everything on the pod with us. Though, right?
Yeah, next podcast.
Awesome. Next one we'll be premiering Chet Porter's new album. Release date is TBD. So we'll see y'all then. Thank you for tuning in.
10 years.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.